fellas of YouTube, this is Robbie speaking, and as you can see by the thumbnail, this is going to be a Star Wars video, which is something I don't normally do here on the channel. For those of you who already know, I do anime videos, mostly anime, but I have talked about Star Wars sporadically here on the channel as well. But just the animated projects, like say, The Bad Batch, Star Wars Visions, well that's anime, so of course I'm going to talk about it either way. But the reason why I talk about those animated Star Wars projects is because I feel like they don't get enough attention, like not enough people talk about it. Like they talk about Mandalorian, Andor, Kenobi, and don't get me wrong, those projects are good. Like I really enjoy those shows a lot. But the animated ones deserve attention as well, because for those of you who haven't seen The Bad Batch, but also other Star Wars projects, you don't know what you're missing out on. Like, some people have skipped the Clone Wars, and the reason why is because they think animated stuff is for kids. Like, they think it's just targeted for kids and that adults can't enjoy it. This is a video on why I still watch Star Wars despite people giving up on it. I've been a Star Wars fan since before I was 10. It was around the time Revenge of the Sith was coming out, and everybody was looking forward to it, and I didn't understand why. Like, I didn't understand, like, okay, what's so hyped about Star Wars? Like, I don't understand, like, what's so great about this Darth Vader? Like, back then I didn't know it was Darth Vader. I thought it was Dark Vader. I had this one babysitter who I'm still really tight with. Her name is Jenny, and basically Jenny told me about Star Wars. She told me why people were looking forward to it, and so she offered to show me the movies, like all 6 of them. So she had me start off with the prequels because, and it was the perfect time too, because like I said before, Revenge of the Sith was coming out. So it wasn't too long before that. Like, we watched Phantom Menace first. I mean, I know some people say like, oh, it's not that good of a movie. I still think it's good. It does have flaws, but it's still good. And then there was then we watched Attack of the Clones, which I thought Attack of the Clones wasn't that good as a Phantom Menace, but I still enjoy Attack of the Clones. And then we went to theaters. We watched Revenge of the Sith in theaters, and I was just blown away by that movie, of how violent, how dark it was and everything. Like, I just wanted more. And then after that, we got to watch the original trilogy. Like, I just watched all those movies in order, and I feel like that's how people should do it. Like, they'll start off with the original trilogy and then the prequel trilogy, but I feel like if you start off with the prequels first, you will enjoy them more, because some people who watch the original trilogy first, like, I understand they watched the original trilogy first because there was no prequel trilogy yet, but for those of you who did, they were really disappointed in the prequels. And then just a few years later, the Clone Wars series came out. The Clone Wars on Cartoon Network, I used to watch that weekly. Just every new episode, I would just watch it, and I just loved that even more than the prequels. Then there was Star Wars Rebels. I enjoyed that too. And then the sequel trilogy, like The Force Awakens, I really enjoyed. Then there was Rogue One, enjoyed. Last Jedi, I didn't enjoy too much. And Solo, I did enjoy. Then there was The Rise of Skywalker, and yeah, out of all the Star Wars movies, that one has got to be my least favorite. I've only watched it once, and I never watched it again. But then you got the dedicated Star Wars fans like me, who still watch Star Wars. The Mandalorian, for example. Like, people say that The Mandalorian saved Star Wars. And then you got the Clone Wars Season 7, which was the best news ever from Disney. Like, that was the best decision that they have ever made with Star Wars in general. The Bad Batch, Tales of the Jedi, Kenobi, The Book of Boba Fett, which was not the best idea. Like, it just wasn't that good of a series. Andor, like, all of these good shows. Like, we see that the people behind Star Wars can still tell really good stories. Like, even if it has nothing to do with Jedi or the Skywalkers. I mean, I'm trying to think of this one Star Wars show. Like, I want to pronounce the title of it, but I'm afraid I'm going to butcher it, so I'm just going to leave it here as a caption. But I'm really looking forward to that show because it takes place in a different era of Star Wars. Like, back when the Jedi was still around, but, like, hundreds of years before the Phantom Menace, or that's what they say. Like, I'm just really excited for that show the most because I just want to see a different time. Because when you have shows that take place around the Empire, like during the Empire, after the Empire, with all these like remnants, like say in The Mandalorian where you still have stormtroopers, it makes the Star Wars galaxy feel small, like everybody just knows everybody. And I'm not trying to bash talk, you know, Mandalorian. Like, it's still a good show, but I'm just hoping that they do something totally different. Because that's all I want, is just for new characters, new faces, not have them rely on these familiar faces that we just have to see all the time. I mean, take Andor, for example. I mean, yeah, it takes place during the time of the Empire, but we still see new characters, just a few familiar faces like Mon Mothma and Saw Gerrera, but those characters haven't gotten a whole lot of attention. One of the things that people say about Andor is that they say it's a more mature show, that it's a more mature take on Star Wars and less immature. Like, say if you showed your kid Andor, they might be bored, they might not be invested because of all the dialogue and less on the action. That's one of the things that I like about Andor, is that it's trying to do different things. It's trying to, at first when I first watched Andor, like the first couple episodes, I was just like, okay, this is getting slow, can we speed it up please? But now that I look back on it, I'm just like, okay, maybe it doesn't always have to be on fighting. Like, maybe Star Wars can focus a bit more on the dialogue. One of the things that people say about Star Wars, like a negative thing about Star Wars, is that they say it's a cash grab, which might be true, I hate to say it, but it's a good cash grab at that, as long as you can tell good stories. But then you got some who say, oh, it's being run to the ground, it's just being milked, just like with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm not trashing the Marvel Cinematic Universe, just want to point it out there. There's always going to be good stories as well as bad stories. But if you are someone who has not seen Star Wars yet, like say a single movie, I recommend like just watching all 9 movies straight. I mean, like, I know some say like oh, start off with episode 1, 2, and then watch the Clone Wars, and then go to episode 3, and then watch the Bad Batch, and then watch Rebels and Rogue One and all that. Like they just come up with these orders, like these chronological orders, and I get it, but at the same time, you're making them invest way too much into Star Wars. I feel like the shows and the spin-off movies, they're more meant for die-hard Star Wars fans. But the 9 movies, those are more meant for movie fans in general. Like just a general movie audience. I feel like after you watch the 9 movies, like all in order, I feel like that'll be the deciding point for you. You may want to watch more Star Wars on the world building, the characters, or you may just say to yourself, I don't need to watch more Star Wars because I'm not that invested. Star Wars is always going to have bad projects, but there'll always be good projects as well, and I may be disappointed along the way, but I will keep watching Star Wars until the day I die, so yeah. What do you guys think of Star Wars? Like, are you still watching Star Wars? Have you given up? Just let me know your thoughts down below. And if you are new to this channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I'm Rob A, and may the anime force be with you.